A huge thing for us, we like to say winning in the margins, and so we are really fortunate this season. We have a lot of talent, a lot of depth, but that hasn't always been the case for us at MIT, and so we always come from the mindset of how can we maximize every possession, maybe some ways that people don't normally think about, after timeouts, after free throws, in transition, how can we create advantages for us, because we know maybe we're not going to be able to hang in a 5-on-5 set situation, but how can we create some mismatches and maximize things that maybe another team just hasn't had enough time to scout yet. And so we like to say winning in the margins and maximizing, if we can steal after every free throw, if we can steal, 8 points there, 8 points in transition, 6 points in our ATOs, our after timeouts, we're going to put ourselves in a good position to be able to battle.
When you were a younger coach, did you have opportunities to come to things like clinics like this just to pick up information, and how valuable was that?
I was fortunate enough. I had some really excellent mentors and was fortunate to come to events like this within the community and within the women's basketball world. And I think it makes a world of difference with just the networking and getting to hear things that you talk about at every level, down to middle school, elementary, all the way up through the NBA. And, I was at the Celtics practice a couple weeks ago, and just hearing even some of the language that they use, it's like, hey, we teach that. And so I think it's really fun to see, and just to cultivate the game in a way that educates everybody from players, coaches, and even the officials on the way that the game's changing and, what it's looking like.
I'm guessing that you use these kind of opportunities as learning experiences for yourself as well, too. How much are you, not like taking a lot of information, but just hearing something different and seeing how you implement it?
I think that's a huge part of it too, is I know, being able to speak, but also listen, hearing Coach Jones, and some of what he's dialing up are things that we look at. And so it's just nice to hear the language that they use to teach, or, maybe an option that we didn't think of. And so it's really informative for us, because sometimes we're trying to teach the same thing, but maybe we use different vocab. And so it's a really great opportunity to just kind of see, and, maybe if there's another drill that they use to get at where we're trying to go, it's really helpful.
Did you grow up in the Boston area?
I did, yeah. Originally from Chelsea.
From Chelsea?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
being
so
in
here.
Madison Park is kind of like an iconic place to be.
Yeah, I was going to say Madison Park, and my cousin was a longtime coach right next door at O'Brien, and so I feel like basketball has always been in my blood. Even, my dad is here today kind of watching, and, I grew up coming into the city to play pickup, jumping on the bus, jumping on the tee, and, finding pickup games in the park, and, especially as a young girl, sometimes getting picked up late by the boys, but always trying to, find a game wherever I could.
And now to be coaching at MIT, in Cambridge, but same fabric of the city, how important is it for you to build these relationships as a coach now of MIT?
I think that was a huge focal point. So I was an assistant here for a long time, and then had the opportunity to move away for a couple of years, and then coming back and taking on the head coaching position. I thought it was really important for us to cultivate a lot of these relationships, especially as the better basketball that we're putting out, and just kind of showing people with Division III and being a part of the community, like there's a place for everyone to be able to play and learn and be successful. It's not just necessarily the big schools or, getting to the NBA, WNBA. There's a lot of great opportunities, and just showcasing, what we can do and find connections to grow the game.
I asked this question to everybody. What would your life look like if basketball wasn't a part of it?
I don't even know. It's been such a huge part of my life. Starting out, I thought I wanted to go into finance and accounting. I always kind of liked math and numbers. And as I played in college and had the opportunity to play in college, I really enjoyed when our college would have camps and elite camps, and I loved that, and thought I'd kind of put two things together, maybe teach high school math and be a high school coach, and then got the opportunity to coach college, and kind of never looked back, and decided a few years ago to jump all in. And I think it's just been amazing. And I don't know the opportunities that I've had to travel, education. I don't know if I would have had the same without a sport kind of driving those forces.
I think as a player, you always know that your playing days will come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what level you get to, it just kind of end. But the ability to have a career in sports, have a career in basketball, I think this is what this organization is really trying to get across. So, what kind of message do you send to your players who might be interested in really getting into the business side of basketball?
I think at MIT we have a lot of our players are interested in analytics and the breakdowns. We've had some players that have gone on to different sports organizations and getting involved, and so it's just the driver of so many things. Maybe your playing days are over, but there's ways to be involved in coaching, communications, productions, and just so many behind the scenes things. And even if maybe you're not the most skilled player, but you still want to be a part of athletics in some capacity, athletics jobs are widely available, and so it's just finding what's going to work for you and learning. And I think these events and events like it really showcase some of the opportunities that you have that are not just being a player.
In the house, the head women's coach at MIT, Lucia Robinson-Griggs. Thank you so much.
Hi everybody, thank you for having me, Lucia. I'll talk a little bit about my coaching journey, and then I want to share some looks and some things that we prioritize at our level with our team. I started out kind of similar to Coach Jones over there, math teacher, thought I'd maybe just kind of coach in high school, help out here and there. Had the opportunity to coach in college after working some clinics, some camps and things like this. Kind of never looked back. I tried to do both for a while, and then was fortunate a few years ago to have the opportunity to kind of jump in and be a full-time head coach. I was at MIT as an assistant for 8 seasons prior to getting the chance to coach at Vassar College in New York as the women's head coach there. And then after one of my mentors left, Lucia Robinson, she's actually an assistant now with the Memphis Grizzlies. When she left MIT, they reached out and asked if I'd be interested in coming back. And it was a no-brainer for me to kind of come back to a place that I felt we built, her and I, from the ground up. I remember 13 years ago, we were picking people out of gym class, being like, hey, you look kind of athletic, do you want to play basketball? And now we're in a really fortunate situation through just recruiting and building. Preseason polls just came out. We're number 2 in the conference, looking to make some splashes. But one thing that's really at the core of what I do as a coach, and I think what's important to us as a program, is one thing that we call winning in the margins. And so sometimes you just know on paper we're not going to stack up in a half-court 5v5 battle with this team. So what are the margins? What are some little pieces that we can do to utilize everything that we have? So maybe this team isn't really great in transition, so how are we going to push the ball in transition? How are we going to maximize every after timeout look, after after a free throw, sometimes catch a team sleeping, get it back on defense, and put pressure on them. And so a huge piece is, we say winning in the margins, and what does that mean? And there have been times, you know, we're looking and it's like, oh, you know, we shoot free throws, we practice this play, but I can probably go over there right now and still go 8, 9, 10, 10 from the free throw line, but I'm not exhausted. I didn't just get whacked going in for a layup. And so I think a huge piece of making your players successful is you have to put them in those high stress situations in practice every day. You know, shooting free throws when you're tired, being able to execute, we begin practice high speed every single day. We want to work on their footwork. We want them to be communicating with each other. You know, they're not just coming out and doing casual layup lines. Everybody can do that. But when the game is on the line, when a defender is right on your heels, can you still make that same layup as making an assist? Can you still make that same pass? And so we found that we really need to boil down and put them in those situations. And so in our practices, there's always a lot of short bursts of teaching. And then we're playing a lot of short scrimmages, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes at a time, putting handcuffs on them, telling them that they can only run this one option. And they're kind of looking like, whoa, coach, the defense knows that play. They're going to cheat it. They're going to do this. Okay, better. We know they're going to switch. We know they're going to cheat this. What are you willing to do? And so we give them a lot of power and decision making to kind of go through and have those opportunities to create and shape up those scenarios in practice. I also want to introduce, he's going to help me set some things up, my assistant, Christian Ray, really great young coach in the game. So we're going to demo a couple of the drills that we use to start practice. If we don't do both of these every day, we're always doing at least one of them. And I'll also talk through some ways that we add pressure and add variety to these kind of throughout the week. So I'm going to have our young players get set up over here. I need 3 lines on the baseline. We'll start 2 basketballs. This is a drill we call duck scramble. 2 dribbles. That ball needs to be out of your hands by this volleyball line and getting up and good. Yep, come on back. Here we go. Run it back, run it back. Yep, here we go. Hit it. Good. Come, hey, 3 trips. You're going to run to the opposite wing. You're going to run to the opposite wing. Good. All right, come on down. All right, pass it up to him on the wing. Come slap up here. Come on. Right here. Okay, now I'm not going to get too close to those speakers. I want you to hit the person in the middle. Yeah, hit that person in the middle. On the run, when we do this, again, sometimes we have perfection. We usually keep our big people in the middle, our post players, and we'll tell them they also should be talking and communicating the whole time. So they've got to be telling the wings, do they want the ball on the run, or do they want to post up? What this drill, what this drill is, and we'll go 1 ball for now. So I'm going to have you're going to pass to the middle, and then you are going to sprint right to this midline, right there. Beautiful. You're going to pass to this last person, and then you are going to sprint right up to that, right where the half-court line is. Now you're passing it up here.